Happy Monday, flosstube. Hello, crafty friends. How's everybody doing today? My name is Caroline. Welcome back to my channel, Evertote Notes from the Workshop. Evertote is my small online craft-based business where we sell project bags for crafters, as well as we are the exclusive home of all of the Leo&Roxy Floss Co products, including linens for stitchers, as well as overdyed cotton floss. So today's video is all about the question and the suggestion that I get frequently: why don't you use DMC numbers to compare with your linen, as a helpful way for people to know what the color is like on the linen. And there's a few reasons why that doesn't really, for us, that doesn't really work very well. And so I just thought I would take a few minutes today to explain and go into showing you a few of the things here that I work with on a daily basis to try and help. See, it's one of those things that's really tricky, because it is a good idea. It is a good suggestion. But for where we are here as a business, very small business with an indie dyer, Carrie Mascio is the dyer behind Leo&Roxy Floss Co. She's one woman. She dyes out of her home, and we sell everything that she produces. And the science behind dyeing fabrics and cotton, dyeing cotton is different than dyeing wool or other products that crafters would use. And so every time Carrie dyes something, it's a science experiment, basically, in a nutshell. She has recipes and she follows her recipes. But when you have a small home-based dye business, those science experiments, those chemical science experiments, can, especially for what she's working with, they can turn out differently every time. And you will follow the recipe to a T, exactly the same way you did it the last time. But if any little minute part of the process is even remotely different than the last time you did it, and in fact, the conditions could be exactly the same, down to the nth degree, and when you open the lid on the dye pot, what comes out of it can look very different from the last time that you did it. So offering a DMC suggestion so what I'm going to show you today is a line of linen that we have called Blank Slate, because it is the most, it's the easiest for you to see how wildly different it is. Each count. So we dye, I'm using the royal we here, and I will use it throughout this video because it's Carrie dyeing. I am the reseller. So Carrie dyes the product, I sell it. So when I say when we open the lid on the dye pot, it is the royal we. It's always Carrie. I am not dyeing the linen. Blank Slate is our best. It's the best way for me to show you the varieties that happen. So the different counts of linen, 28, 32, 36, 40, 46 that we're currently dyeing, each count will take the fabric, each count will take the dye differently. The next bolt of linen from the factory, so Carrie uses Zweigart base. So all of the linen and Aida, and even weave is coming. It's coming. It's going to be in the future, but it's coming. Everything that comes from the Zweigart factory, the next bolt might take the dye a little differently. If the humidity in the air is even slightly remotely different than the last time you dyed, what will come out of the dye pots might be different. Any little factor, water temperature, affects it greatly. I mean, and it can be the smallest change. The smallest change will yield a different result. And when you offer something concrete like a DMC number, when you offer something like that in relationship to something that you are trying to sell online, where your customer can't see it, they can't touch it, they can't feel it, you're almost offering a promise. You're almost offering, when you get this linen, it's going to look like this. Well, we're not dyeing to achieve a color that looks like a DMC number. So we're not trying to achieve a DMC color number. So going through the color chart, and I'll show you this in a minute. I'll turn the camera around and I'll give you a better look at what I'm talking about. It's very difficult to pick just one. And so I would have to probably pick 3 or 4 to give you the variety of different colors that you might find in your particular piece of linen. But then I would have to repeat that process again for each count. So 28 count is going to show differently than 36 count. They're going to be quite different. So I'm going to need another selection of 4 different colors. Maybe one would do, but probably not, because they're just not close enough. There's not enough depth of shading, right? I mean, DMC doesn't have every single color in the spectrum. And I know that there are shops out there who do offer this. And if that's working for them, I think that's great. I really do. It's just not going to work for us and where we are. We're very small. Each batch is going to come out differently. And so my job is to show you the linens that I currently have in stock and what colors I think look beautiful on those fabrics. And then when you receive it, you can either agree with me or you can say, that actually doesn't really work as well with my floss that I thought it would, but I'm gonna tuck it into my stash because I know it will be perfect for another project down the line. And I know that's tough, right? That's tough because you think you're buying a particular piece of fabric with a particular project in mind, and when you receive it, it doesn't look exactly like what you thought it would, which fair enough. That we're doing the best we can with, I mean, when I can't bring you here into the workshop to let you touch and feel it and see it. But I think that giving you a DMC number, I use a color card from DMC. Those little color card thread, you know, the real thread ones, the real skein of DMC looks a little bit different in real life. But I still think that just that small sample is not enough to give you a proper idea of what your floss is going to look on it. So I can tell you, okay, this fabric looks like $8.98. What was the example? Actually, I'm gonna turn the camera around now so that I can show you these things in real life while I'm talking about them. I think it'll make a little bit more sense. Okay, so currently in the shop, this is blank slate. This is what I have available to sell for the line of floss called Blank Slate, Leo&Roxy Floss Co Blank Slate. This is a 28 count, this is a 32 count, and these two pieces here are a 36. One of them has slightly more modeling, one of them has a slightly different tone. So even though they're both 36 counts, these were different dye lots and they came out slightly differently. So trying to assign one DMC color for both of those, well, it would be off. This yard wouldn't look the same as the DMC number for this yard. So then I have to give you a selection of a few. Well, the selection of the few DMCs that work for this are certainly not going to work for my 32 count because this dye lot came out lighter. Even though it was in the same dye bath, it came out a totally different color. The 28 count, again, it's a completely different color than the other counts in this line. So that's why when I do these videos and I say, these colors look beautiful on it, that's my opinion as well, right? Your opinion might be totally different from me. You might hate the colors that I choose on this blue linen. So the best thing I can do is just show you an approximate color, and if you like, I would describe these as, you know, they're a cooler blue. There's a difference between a cool blue and a warm blue. I also think that any of these blues would look amazing with Isabella's Heart, which is the chart that we've been selling this linen with, the chart by Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery. There are 3 colors in that: Antique Wedding Dress, Falou Red, and Flamingo. And those 3 flosses in combination look spectacular on this linen. It doesn't matter which shade of it that you're getting. And so for me as a reseller, it makes a lot more sense for me to choose one project where I know across the board everything is going to look great on it. But then the 46 count, okay, so this is what I have in the 46 count. And I think I only have a yard and a half left of it. But even between the two yards, this yard of 46 is very slightly darker than this wide quarter of 46 count that I have. But both of them look amazing with Planetarium. So this is a Leo&Roxy floss called Planetarium. Now, one of the other suggestions that I had that was excellent, two suggestions that I had. First of all, I had a viewer say that it was really helpful when I inserted the product photo of the floss while I was talking about it, because that gives you a different view of it. We take our floss photos in a light box, and so it tends to show up the variegation of the floss a lot better. Whereas when you're seeing it in video, you're getting a closer view of what I see in real life, but if you bring it close up, you start to notice more those little things that show up in the light box. So I will do that. I'm going to insert the product photo of Planetarium here while I'm talking about it. And also another viewer suggested that I put the name of the floss, that I edit in the name of the floss over top of while I'm talking so that you know how to spell it. And also if you can't hear me properly, if you miss what I'm saying, because, well, that happens easily enough. It's very easy to misunderstand what somebody is saying. So I will edit in the name of the product that I'm saying. So this is called Planetarium. And I will insert a photo from our shop page that shows you the floss in a light box that gives you a better idea of the really subtle variegation that's happening. So Planetarium is the most beautiful, beautiful blue. I love this blue so much. It's a rich dark blue. And Planetarium looks amazing on this batch of blank slate. It also looks really good on some of the 28 count that I have. But I don't think I wouldn't put it on the 36 count. I wouldn't use it on the 36 count. Well, that's not true. I might. And that's where my issue comes in, right? Because your opinion might be that's the best combination I've ever seen. Whereas I might think I might be more inclined to do, I might go completely out of where I'm just looking around. I don't have a skein of Antique Wedding Dress. Antique Wedding Dress is our most popular ecru color, and it looks stunning on this. It is in Isabella's Heart, so that's Antique Wedding Dress. But Planetarium, my choice for Planetarium would be, and I have a project started on a piece of 46 count. That's the 28 count, which also, I think I don't have very much of this 28 count left. And again, when I order more from Carrie, I don't know what's coming. So I have to wait until I see it, and then I can share it with you. This batch came out a little bit darker. Planetarium might not be your best choice. But look, on this yard of 46 count, Planetarium looks amazing. So that's the one issue that we're dealing with, that each count of the fabric has a variety of color. It's a lot more subtle in some of our other linens. Blank slate was the best example I had to show you. It's the one that is the most different between the counts. Okay, so now next up I'm going to show you the DMC color card with, this is the linen that we just recently listed in July. It is, which one is this? This is July 22, number 1. So in the shop, you're going to see it's listed in our linen and native section as July 22, number 1. This is the 28 count. This is the 36 count. So let's start with the 28 count. That's what this yard looks like. this yard of 28 count that I have looks like this. Can you see the difference? This one is darker and this one is lighter. Same dye bath, but they just came out differently. So trying to assign one DMC color, even two DMC colors to this is difficult, but let's try. Let's see if we can do our best. So here's my color card, which frankly, I use mine all the time, but the biggest benefit to this that I use it for are for using to sub in floss that I have in my stash, where if the designer is calling for a DMC number, it gives me a starting point. So the designer says, okay, well these stitches are going to be done with 3685. I know that 3685 looks like this, so I'm going to go and find a Leo&Roxy floss that I have that's close to that, and I know that I'll probably be happy with it in my stitching. But for linen, here's what I'm going to do. So this is my 28 count. I think you can see that okay, yep. And if I hold this up, I'm looking at kind of these color families here. So let's see. Because this is too light, this is too yellow, that's just too, there's not enough color in the ecru and 3865. Of course that's a white, isn't it? This isn't right. These are close. These are close. So I've got 3774, 950, 543, 3864. Some of the modeling in there might be 3864, but then maybe 842, maybe kind of in between 842. Okay, so well that's that yard of the 28 count that I have, but this yard of 28 count that I have is in spots, it's lighter, and maybe that wide quarter that a customer is going to get isn't going to really have any of 3864, and they've done a floss toss and they're expecting it to look, you know, something in this range, and it doesn't work with their floss when they receive it in the mail. So, but that's 28 count. If we bring in the 36 count, here, this yard, look. Here's 1 yard of 36 count. We've got some darker modeling in there, but this yard of 36 count came out with a little bit more of the peach tone, and it's really subtle. Peach is a strong word to use because people have a very strong reaction to the word peach, but it's a color, and if it's pale, pale, pale peach underneath a brown toned taupe tan, you'll see it slightly. But when it will come out more is when you try to put floss on it. How do I assign that one number that's even close, or even 4 numbers that are close? Because each yard is different, and that's the beauty of a hand dye. That's what you're paying for. That's what the expensive part of hand dyed linens are. You are getting a unique product, something that's different from everything else, and that's why, to my mind, it's really almost impossible to assign a DMC number to it. I could give you, and here's the second part of why I don't want to do this. I said at the beginning, you're sort of creating an expectation when you give someone a number. A lot of people don't understand that this is going to look different. I might order July 22 1, but let's give it a name. Let's call it, you know, Sunrise Sandcastle, something like that, you know, just make up a name. Hannah's not here today. Hannah is genius at naming things. We love puns around here, and Hannah just always has a special knack for naming things quickly and amazingly well. So you're setting up an expectation. If I give you a DMC number and that's what you're doing your floss toss on before you get the linen, you're going to have an expectation in mind. And you're looking at something either that's as small as this or a skein of floss. that is going to read entirely differently when you get it and you open it up and you put your floss on it. It might work, or you might not like it, because your opinion, people's tastes, people's opinions, they're all different. They're all unique. And that's the beauty of this, right? That's the beauty of what we get to do. But a lot of people don't understand that they're not getting something that's going to look different than maybe the last time they saw it. Like peanut brittle. We sold a linen called peanut brittle. Recreating it has been very, very challenging. And the different dye lots of peanut brittle have been different. So assigning a DMC color to the peanut brittle that was dyed before Stitch North would be different than the DMC numbers that I would have to assign to a new dye lot. The changes in it are just that. They're a science experiment. And so for me to promise that the linen that you're getting today, July 2022, Sunrise Sandcastle, matches these particular DMC numbers. Well, we have a lot of customers who are going to remember that, and they're going to come back in 3 or 4 years, and they're going to want to order another piece of Sunrise Sandcastle, and they're going to have that expectation in their mind. Well, the last time I bought Sunrise Sandcastle, it looked like this. But this time when I ordered Sunrise Sandcastle, it looks completely different, and it doesn't match anything that I wanted, and I'm super disappointed. You've disappointed me, and I want my money back. Well, okay, that's an extreme scenario, but it does happen because we have set the expectation. By not giving you a DMC number, but by doing my best to show you with the camera and use as many descriptive words as I can and show you floss on top of it, I'm doing the best that I can to hope that when you receive your linen and your floss, you're going to receive something that you love, regardless of whether or not it's perfect for the particular project that you had in mind when you purchased it. I can, without a shadow of a doubt, tell you that having a small stash of beautiful linens in your drawer, saved up, tucked away, they come in handy. Because this might not work for the project you have in mind, but chances are excellent that if you love this color, it will work for a project that's maybe in your future. And I do that all the time. I am constantly going to my stash that I have tucked away safe in a drawer, and it always works for something because I love the color. I'm going to love it for something else. It might not work for this project, but it will work for another. I hope that was helpful. I really hope that made some sense, and maybe explained why we do things the way we do, or don't do them the way that perhaps people think that we should do them, because I know there are other shops offering a DMC suggestion, and I think that that's great. Think different things work for different people. I am such a and if you've watched me for any length of time on my other channel, my flosstube channel, Off the Grid Needlearts, you'll know that I tend to get a little bit hyper-focused on things, and I tend to go down rabbit holes with things, especially things that are fun. This is fun, and choosing colors that match would be so fun, and I would get completely sucked into a rabbit hole trying to find the perfect match, the perfect shading of gradients of colors that would match. But then I would go to cut and open the next yard of linen and they wouldn't work, and it would be frustrating, and I would be upset because I would feel like I was letting people down because they weren't getting what I had told them they would be getting. I think you see where I'm going here. So for me, for us, and for Carrie, the way that her business works and the way that my business works, for us, this is just I'm just going to show you the linen. I'm going to give you some amazing suggestions of things that I think look beautiful on it, and I hope that you love it too. So in my last floss toss video, I gave some suggestions for this linen, July 22 number 1. But I do think that moving forward, I think that Carrie and I should be brave, and instead of giving them months and numbers, I think we should give them a name. And then the next batch of July 22, number one might look a little bit different, but I'll come on and I'll give you some suggestions as to what I think would look beautiful on it. So should we call it sunrise, sunset, sunrise sandcastle? That's what I called it, right? Sunrise sandcastle? Let's give it a name. Sunrise sandcastle. It's official. I'll do that. And I hope that you will love it. That's it for me today, everyone. Let me turn the camera around so I can say goodbye face to face. Hang on. There we go. So I don't have my coffee in here today. I had too much linen around. It's not safe. I don't have a lid on my coffee cup today. So my coffee's in the other room. So it's probably lukewarm by now. So I'll have to drink it quick and get back to work. I know I'm kind of putting this at the end here, but in case you're still with me and you have an order in the system, last week I was away for a few days. I took a couple of days off to have a little holiday with a few friends and my family. And while I was away, Hannah ended up with a migraine on Friday. So Hannah wasn't here at work on Friday, and the box of orders was supposed to go to our shipper on Friday. And because Hannah wasn't here, it didn't happen. And then there was I live in Canada, and on Friday last week, there was a countrywide outage of one of our biggest service providers for internet and telephone, Rogers, which, you know, we could have a whole discussion about monopolies and why they're a terrible idea. However, this is not the place for that. But anyways, everything was out, and Matt, who works here, I was not able to get a hold of him at all. I knew he was here because I could tell the alarm system was turned off, so I knew he was here, but I had no other way to communicate with him. All he has is his phone. He doesn't work on a computer here. He's always on the sewing machine or the press or those. So I didn't have a way to get a hold of him, and so I couldn't get the box of orders out the door. So if you have an order in the system that the postage was paid on it last week from Wednesday to Friday, it is going out the door today. But the truck doesn't pick up from our carrier. The truck doesn't pick up until they pick up twice, Tuesdays and Fridays. So even though I'm gonna take the box over today anyways, so that customers, there's gonna be a lot of people who don't see this, but so that customers know their order is starting the process of getting moving, it's still not gonna leave on the truck until tomorrow, which is Tuesday, July the 12th. And so, oh, today's July the 11th. It's my dad's birthday. So happy birthday, Dad. A little reminder there again. So that's just to say that I apologize that they didn't go out last week, but that's just, it was completely unavoidable. Hannah is now feeling better. She'll be back in the office later this week. So I think that's it. I think that's all. For a Monday, that was a lot, wasn't it? Anyways, I'm gonna go off and get some more orders going. Louise is here tomorrow to pack and ship some more. So I've got a busy day ahead, and that coffee's not gonna drink itself. So I wish you a wonderful Monday. I hope that you're well, I hope that you're safe, and I hope that you have some crafting to enjoy. And until I see you again, there will be a FlossTube video up tomorrow. I will actually have a surprise guest on tomorrow's FlossTube, and I'm really looking forward to it. So until tomorrow, I'll say good night, good day, and happy stitching. Take care, everybody.